the federal. However, what Wale Edun just said there was that they were borrowing 1.7 trillion naira for primary health care service delivery in Nigeria. So that tells you everything you need to know. It simply means once they get the money, it's just some peanut for the boys to share. Right? Then they said, oh, they're also going to collect a 70 million grant. I don't know if that is coming from the World Bank. World Health Organization. Ooh, I don't know. You know? Or they know the people they are leading. Here you get that people are not interested. They are too poor to think. They are too distracted, preoccupied with what they are going to eat next. Where is the next meal coming from? To be interested in what a minister is reading or not. Here is another one though. This one is Musawa, the Minister of, is it culture?
So today the Council approved the establishment of the Creative and Tourism Infrastructure Corporation to invest and develop Nigeria's creative and tourism industries infrastructure under a PPP partnership. This is really a very transformative initiative that we hope will propel Nigeria's creative industry and the tourism industry to new heights by allowing it to unlock its immense potential that we all know it has for economic growth and for global soft power. The new Federal Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy was created in October 2024, and we are really meant to go out to see what we can do to build on the creative industry, the cultural industry, and the tourism industry. The establishment of this Creative and Tourism Infrastructure Corporation is a special purpose vehicle under a PPP framework that will allow us to identify and to deploy and finance critical infrastructure needs in the creative industry. I think we all do know that at the moment, everybody talks about creativity being in Nigeria. There's a lot of interest in Nigeria, not because of anything, but because of our content and because of our creativity. And Mr. President was very, very intentional in trying to diversify his government by making sure that we build on the creative industry and in innovation. So we have now engaged with development partners and stakeholders all over the world in this discussion to develop innovative infrastructure development and financing approaches. So the real key objectives of this CTIC is to provide the infrastructural foundation that is needed for the creative industry and for the tourism industry, and to generate at least $100 billion to the increase of the GDP and at least 2 million jobs, specifically for a younger demographic. We really hope to develop world-class infrastructure. We want to attract investment, and we want to nurture talent and innovation, and we want to promote Nigeria's cultural heritage and use it as a tool for growth for us globally and for us locally as well, and to create output generally. So by bridging the infrastructure gap, because everybody knows that there's a lot of value in the creative industry and in the tourism industry, and this value can only be really extracted to the benefit of the Nigerian if we put the modalities in place that allow its growth. One of the key areas that has a huge gap is in the area of infrastructure. There's a huge content, there's a huge talent, there's just so much, but there's no infrastructure. Just last year, December, everybody saw what happened in Lagos for Dirty December. This was a huge, huge way of showing the world that really Nigeria has what it can offer to the world when it comes to the creative industry. But can you imagine if that Dirty December was supported by the proper infrastructure that will allow its growth? We want to leverage on that output in order to make sure that we can really have the value, the huge value that can bring economic growth through this industry. So let me just talk briefly about some of the projects that we're looking at. And some of these projects are Obudu Resort, Ranch, Yankari Game Reserve, the Abuja Creative City, a 5,000 cinema screens, Creative City at the Wole Soyinka Center, Lagos, Center for African Arts, digital distribution network, upgrading the National Gallery, and expanding National Arena capacity to 100,000. We want to bring a Nigerian museum to Abuja. Imagine the giant of Africa not having a museum in its capital city. We want to bring Nollywood and realize Nollywood as a proper destination. And I spoke about the music arenas that we need to have all over the country. So, you know, this is huge, huge. It's a wonderful day for the creative industry, and it's a wonderful day for the tourism industry, because we have started on a journey to put in place not only the infrastructure, but the modality that will allow us to really see the value and the worth that can be expanded to the general Nigerian public. So I'm looking forward to talking with the press in future as we begin to outroll some of these projects that we're doing. And yes, it's a fantastic day, and thank God that the memo was approved by the council.
So they are going to renovate Obudu Cattle Ranch, Yankari Reserve, Wole Soyinka Theatre Center, National Theatre. What else? And they are going to increase the cinema center in, right? Damn it, man. Because you have to present something. If you want your own cuts from, from the largesse that they share by ministries, she's in charge of the tourism, I think. Okay. So they are going to build maybe film village and Dirty December, so that, people can come from abroad and have access to some infrastructures, like maybe our own infrastructure will include generating and distributing cheap energy, which is so essential for any country that really wants to, to improve economically. The first thing you need is to have reliable, electricity, dependable electricity, and cheap. So Nigerians have become so poor that their purchasing power has become like, you see, population can be a blessing. For example, if you have a population like you do have in that contraption, allegedly, over 200 million people. But statistically, you have more than 170 million Nigerians who are living in abject, multi-dimensional poverty, who can barely feed themselves. Talk less of them having any disposable cash, right, to buy other things for themselves. That's massive. So if you have 24 hours electricity, for example, and then people are gainfully employed, which means that they are earning, businesses are running, and yeah, I mean, your population can be a blessing in that regard. So what is Musawa going to do in the area of infrastructure? She kept repeating and mentioning. It was just all talk. I promise you, just talk. So next year, you're going to see her again talk about how they are going to renovate Obudu Ranch, how they are going to increase the animals in the young. Have you seen the lion in Ibadan and Abuja Zoo? Have you seen them? Baba? Man, you will feel like, man, I need to adopt this animal, or they should just put them down. You see the shege that people are seeing in Nigeria, that people are hungry, people are starving, people are, animals in their zoo, they are suffering too. No joke, true story. But yeah, maybe they are going to probably feed them now, so that you as a tourist to their zoo, for example, the Yankari, what have you, right? So you won't become, you become food for these animals. Or have you ever seen where in the world, have you ever seen where lion in a zoo is doing like this? Bros, bros. Yeah, that's more or less like what the animals in Nigerian zoo, that's what they do. If for those ones who can, those ones who are like caged, they can't jump at you. You'll be seeing them do like this. Bros, please, please. For real. Or billions and billions, hundreds of billions of naira are always budgeted for all these things every year, you know. So Musawa, you know. So yeah, here is another one. They had the meeting twice. Okay, so the one they had yesterday, it was the turn of the devil Umayi to tell us how many roads. Now this is not the first time. Remember that the same devil Umayi said that before the 25th of December 2024, that all the federal roads in Nigeria will become motorable. That never happened. Then he turned around and said he didn't say that. Anyway, Devil Umayi has been a minister now for over a year and a half. However, his own office, the Ministry of Works, that's where he works, right? As a Minister of Works in the contraption, Devil Umayi's office has seen over 2 trillion naira allocated to his own ministry alone in the last 1.5 years. Except for the different propagandized projects, road projects, right? Devil Umayi is yet to actually commission a single road from that money. True story. Or maybe it takes more than just a year to either fix a bad road and then construct a new one and what have you. So Devil Umayi is also the brain behind the fraudulent Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. However, you know that the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road was approved for ITEC. ITEC owned by Shaguri, the confidant of Tipnumbu, as well as the same company whose member of the board is also Sheyi Tipnumbu. I hope you remember that, right? That Shaguri's company, ITEC, that got the contracts unbidded for, without any competition, they unbidded a contract for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, right? Is also a part owner. Sorry, Sheyi Tipnumbu is also a part owner. People believe he's representing his father there. That should have been a conflict of interest, but not in that contraption where all illegalities kind of like are legal. Depends on which side you are. To me, illegalities will be illegality. But to those who are benefiting from it, shut up your mouth. If you don't give the contract to his son or the company that his son has interest, who else do you want it to go and give it to the company of Atif Kudi? Abi the company of Obi? My friend, if now you say you know go award the contract to your own son. Like I said, Nigeria is not a real place, okay? Every logical thing elsewhere is illogical. Every illogical things elsewhere is always logical. In Nigeria, you can't really deal with any issue of Nigeria logically because it's a place that abnormalities are considered normal. Depends on who is talking. So if you are condemning every abnormality in that contraption, you will see where you see some others who are so religiously defending the same abnormalities, and they will tell you, what is wrong with that? Devil Umayi here rolling out the approved road contract. And if you pay attention very well, out of this list that Devil Umayi is going to read to you, right? Out of all this list, I promise you that 80% of them were also read last year as approved by the FEC. Pay attention.
Today, in line with the policy of the Renewed Hope administration, to review, rescope, and prioritize, all the ongoing inherited projects. FEC approved in this direction about 14 projects, and I will mention the projects very briefly because yesterday you people were calling and asking details. So the first one is a rescoping of Agia-Kachia Road in Niger State, Agia, and the contractor name is Agaye Kacha Baru Road. Is it correct? And the amount is for 22 billion, and the contractor is Mrs. GRU Building Construction Limited. And then you have the second one, is Uduokpani, rehabilitation of Uduokpani Junction, Akpeti, Central Section of Calabar, Ekom Ogoja Road. And the amount is 26.335 billion, and the contract Samatec. Then the third one is, the contract Abiokite Ajebo Road, Sport to Iyana, Mosa Road in Ogun State. Contractor is Mrs. HMF Construction Limited, and the amount is 10.89 billion. The next one is the Inoma Iheaka Abaji section of Ibaji Odulu Ajegu Road in Anambra State. The contractor name is Niger Cat, and the amount is 9.33 billion. The next one is the construction at Umuahia Ikuano Ikotepene Road, Umuahia Umudike. The name of the contractor is Mrs. Heartland Raycon. Heartland Raycon Construction Company. The amount is 14.37 billion. The next one is the Kaduna Jos Road in Kaduna State and Plateau State, Phase 1. The contractor is Cetraco, and the amount is 33.423 billion. The next one is the Yola Fufure Gurin Road in Adamawa State, and the amount is 11.81 billion, and the contractor is Wiz China Worldwide Engineering Limited. The next one is the Ijebu Iboti Ta Egbe in Ogun State, and it has, that state border route is Aretech Construction Limited and 13 billion. The next one is the contractor Mrs. Mode Limited, amount 7.68 billion, and it is for Lamido Road in Taraba State. The next one is the Nkomoro Isu Road in Enugu State and Ebonyi State. It's Arab contractors, and amount is 14.49 billion. The next one is the Kote Bene border Aba Owerri Road dualization is Arab contractors, and the amount is 11.55 billion. The next one is the Mrs. Rick Rock, 9.68 billion, and the project is Gashi Bayamari, Section 2 in Yobe State. The next one is the project in Ikorodu Shagamu Road in Lagos, and this is the phase 1 of the Lagos Ibadan Road, and it is no, this is different. This is Arab contractors, and it is Ikorodu Shagamu Road, and the amount is 27.59 billion by Arab contractors. And the second to the last is Mrs. Reynolds. Yeah, this is the Lagos, Ibadan Road, the phase 1. There were 2 phases. The first section is being completed by Julius Beja, and the second section is being done by RCC. But RCC is here to finish the Ibadan bound. The contract value of what is left is about 4 billion, and then the Lagos bound is about 8.55 kilometer. And this is what we rescoped. That amount is 22. So you technically have about 30 billion, even though the total value of the project is 213 billion. But don't forget that what is needed to complete that road is 30 billion. And that's Arab contractors. And we are poised to take over some of the roads if any of them will not be completed by the month of April, because we need to commission that project. And the last is the carriageway Arcade bypass. It is a major, construction, but we needed to rescope it by Gito Construction Limited, and the amount is 7 billion. The FEC stepped down, one memo, and that is the building of the FEMA headquarters. FEC wondered why, since the establishment of FEC or FEMA, FEMA never had, headquarters. But we've been asked to research and recheck and then resubmit. Thank you.
Nuisance lele.
Yeah. If you want to, there is more, but I think, let me just give you the summary. If you want to know how to defraud people and how fraudsters operate in government, that's how they operate. Give them the name of the road, even if it is just 1 kilometer road or around